Good evening, everyone. My name is Bindu Zachariah George. The topic that we are going to discuss today is Nemo Dat Quod non habet, which means the sale by a non owner, is it valid? And we are also looking at the exceptions to this rule, this Latin phrase. At the same time, I would also like to say that this is taken from the Contracts book, part 2. Contracts Act is 1872. Now let's go at length and see what we have to study today. Now the question as per the question papers is explain the maxim nemo dat quod habet and state the exceptions if any. Now this Latin phrase literally means one cannot give away what one does not own. You can give what you own, but not what you don't own. That is the basic principle on which our human society operates. Now, what are the exceptions to these? We will be looking at it only in GIST format. I would be giving you points. I would suggest that you go back and check your textbooks to get a better understanding and also to be able to write a lengthy answer for your exam. Now, no one can transfer a title that he does not own. Let's look at the exceptions to the rule. Before that, let's also look at the principles which led to the above maxim. First in time is first in right. So this is something that we know. For example, Q transfers his interest to R. Later, out of mistake, transfers it again to S. Now we know that by rule, R has the full right to the property and S cannot claim any rights to this property. It also lays the principle that the current owner should also be able to trace the legitimacy or the series of legitimacy for his property. So that's something that one has to do if we are buying or procuring a property of great value. It's really important that we trace the list of owners before us. Now, the important case law for this is Bishopgates Motor Finance Corporation Limited versus Transport Brakes Limited. The two principles which have striven for mastery are protection of property and protection of commercial transactions. That is, the person who takes in good faith and for value without notice should get the good title for the property that he has procured. Now, Section 27 of the Indian Contracts Act 1872 is very important here. And the case law is Greenwood versus Bennett case, where the original owner of a Jaguar car, the owner's name is mentioned as Bennett, entrusted the car to a person named Searle for repairs to be carried out. Now, this second person, what he does is he enjoys the car, he goes out for rides and damages it further and sells it to another person. Now, Harper spent Harper is the person who has bought the car from the second person. He spends £226 and sells it further to a finance company. Now, the court held that the car belongs rightfully to Bennett, the original owner. But however, once Bennett procures the car, he has to pay the damages or the money spent for the damages to the person from whom he has taken his car back. So this is what the courts maintain. This is the English law. Now let's look at the Indian laws. In the Indian case of LIC versus Union Bank of India, an actionable claim is not in any doubt transferable only by the person who has a title to the property in respect to which the claim lies. It's the same as the English law that we discussed. Let's look at the exceptions. The first exception that we will look at is transfer of title by preclusion or estoppel. This is Section 27 of the Indian Contract Act 1872. Here, the innocent buyer is led to believe that the seller's right to sell is absolute and the actual owner has agreed to it by his words, conduct, or act, or even by omission of stating something which was valid at the time of the sale. Now, this can happen in two ways. Act of omission. A few businessmen, I'm going to just give you the gist of a case law. Few businessmen pledged few railway receipts with a bank and later pledged the same with another bank. Here it was held that the bank is not bound by any legal duty. That is, the first bank has been not held responsible for the omission of stamping because it's not a legal duty. Now, estoppel by negligence. Here the case law is Coventry Shepherd and Company versus Greater Eastern Railway Company. The defendant carelessly issued two delivery orders for the same consignment. Now what I want you to do is, here this case law, I want you to go back and check. Now the second point is sale by a mercantile agent. Relevant case law is Folks versus Keys. Sale by joint owner is a third point. This is section 28 of the Indian Contract Act 1872. Only with the consent of the other owner the sale should actually happen. What are the exceptions for that? Also you will have to read at length. Pledged by a person under voidable contract. Here this is part of section 29. Sale by a seller in possession of goods after sale, this is section 30.1. Sale by buyer in possession, which is section 30.2. This is the sixth point that we have for discussion. Resale by an unpaid seller to the extent of the value to which he has to get the money. This would be as per section 543. Sale by the finder of goods, section 169. And sale by a pawnee. Here it becomes really important for us to understand the rights of a pawnee and a pawner. Here we have to understand the ratifications of the pledge. The property under pledge shall be delivered to the pawnee. Such delivery shall be in pursuance of the contract. This delivery shall be for the purpose of the security. Also, delivery of articles shall be upon the condition of returning the goods. So this is again something that you will have to go back and check. That is the rights of the pawner and the pawnee. Now I hope you would have been able to understand few points about how to answer this question. I'm sure you will be able to do a better job. Like I always maintain, this is a student perspective. If there are flaws, please feel free to let me know. It will help me in preparing better for the exams. And thank you very much. I hope you have a great day ahead. Bye.